Hello, welcome to the Let's Talk Sciences Declassified STEM Survival Guide podcast. My name is Audrey.
And my name is Ramir.
And the goal of this podcast is to talk about the possible career paths one can take in the field of STEM and the challenges one may face in navigating the STEM world.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the second episode of our 6-part series, The Med Survival Guide. In this episode, we will be talking about what it's like to prepare for the MMI, which stands for Multiple Mini Interviews. The MMI is an interview format that allows medical schools to assess medical school applicants' competencies, such as oral communication and social skills.
So just a disclaimer, the experiences of our guests today are not a reflection of all medical students who get into med school. Everyone has different experiences, and it doesn't mean that you have to follow the exact path our guests took to get accepted into med school.
And if you are thinking about applying to the College of Medicine at the University of Manitoba, we did link their program and admission requirements bulletin in the description of the episode for your reference for a more thorough explanation from the College of Medicine at UMass.
Our guests today include first-year med students from the College of Medicine at the Rady Faculty of Health Sciences at the University of Manitoba, Charith and Arjun.
Charith graduated from the University of Manitoba with a 4-year biology degree before being a first-year med student at the U of M. He's currently a Let's Talk Science volunteer, and we're happy to have him on the team.
And Arjun completed a degree in health sciences at McMaster University in Hamilton, Ontario. He has been a Let's Talk Science volunteer with us at the U of M since September 2020.
All right. How is everybody doing?
How is everybody doing? Bright early morning today.
Great. Well rested and here.
Well rested. I feel that, man.
Yeah.
I would think so, Arjun. I would really.
All right. So to start, also, I just want to thank you guys for being here with us on our second episode. First off, Arjun, so are you originally from Hamilton, Ontario?
No, I born in Winnipeg, grew up in Winnipeg,
Okay.
Went to high school here, and then I just went over to Ontario to Hamilton just for my undergrad.
Oh, interesting. So what made you decide to go out of province for undergrad?
I think part of it was the program. Like the program I went to, I really liked on paper, and I really like being there too. And so I was looking for opportunity, and also I was just looking for opportunities to leave home and try new experiences, that type of thing. Because I was here for 18 years at that point, right? So I guess just a mixture of finding like a program that I really liked, and just an opportunity to leave home and try new experiences.
Oh, nice.
You just went by yourself, or?
Yeah. I mean, my parents came with me to set me up in my dorm and everything, but then after that, just by myself.
So just want to get out of Winnipeg.
For a little bit anyway.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
Well, you're back, so welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back to hometown.
Yeah.
So you also play the violin. Did you play in a band at all?
Oh, no, I didn't. No, I just played for myself, just the RCM program. The Royal Conservatory of Music program too.
Oh, wow. So how long have you been playing violin for?
I think I played actively, I guess, for about 10 years, 10, 11 years. But then when I went to undergrad, I kind of just stopped because, school got busy and that type of thing.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Stopped my lessons, stopped playing pretty much a lot. But then hopefully now that I'm back home and things are settling down, I can get back into it.
Nice. Awesome.
You must be like a guru. 10 years? I mean.
Yeah.
Oh, no, not really. I think it's relative to the amount of practice everything put in. I played quite a bit, and I just kind of played because I enjoyed it. I wasn't really trying to grind really hard and do get amazing marks in all the exams. I just kind of played for fun and because I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great.
But yeah, Charith, you mentioned you're into philosophy and meditation. Tell us a little bit about that. Did you take a course, or did you just like philosophy?
I'm just a naturally confused child.
Well, that's some way to describe it.
Yeah. Because like, you know, you graduate out of high school out of that structure, right? And like, oh, you've been told to like do something,
Right.
I don't know, with your life. So like, I actually went out of province for the first year of my university too, at least like the first semester, to like U of S. But like I kind of flip-flopped around between Manitoba and Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
But like in that journey, it's just like I don't know, like you want to try out as best. Oh no, yeah, have food ready. I have like I give every sort of way of living a try before I like pick one. In terms of like a career, right? Like you're born into a certain culture or like a certain set of values. Doesn't mean you have to stick with it. So like I just like the freedom that philosophy and like especially like less structured things had to offer me. But like meditation comes, especially when it comes to like reducing like stress. Like that's how I started. Then now it's become like a way of life, or as in like a way of understanding the world we're living in. Because like a lot of the time, a lot of philosophy, I get this is my last point before I ramble on. But a lot of philosophy has to do with words. You know what I'm saying? Like, so even philosophy states that words are kind of overrated. Some philosophers at least. But like meditation for me and like other ways of being is like a way of understanding the world without words. So without words and judgments and thoughts. So that's how I would best put it. The difference between the two.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. That's it for the episode, guys.
Great way to end it.
Absolutely though. Meditation though, let me tell you, I just started getting into meditation and like every morning it works, man. And every time like say I have a conflict with someone, you know, you'd never want to just talk to them right in the heat of the moment because more likely you're going to saying something you don't mean, right? So I'll try to meditate first and then clear my mind, and it actually works. Like it calms you down. Or when I'm trying to study and I can't focus, meditation works. So try it out, our listeners, you know. You also mentioned that you also played a violin. So how good are you in comparison to Arjun? Like,
Arjun
He's
is
better than me.
I don't even know the string names. I just like played by ear. I actually did play in a band for like French horn.
Oh, really?
Oh, cool.
At high school. Then I played in university as well. So French horn is more my like instrument. And I have like a guitar back there. I don't know if you see it.
I can see that. Oh, you got it on display. You got a music stand too? Okay.
No, it's a big flex. It's a big flex.
Musician right here.
There's a guitar there too, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
I recently picked up guitar. I mean, I played all my life actually, but I just never had one. But violin is the new thing. I like violin because like you can play whatever, you know, like there's so much freedom in how you play. Yeah.
But I feel like it's specific though, and it sounds better in a band. But then like the French horn, for example. But then I feel like the horn, any wind instrument, is just exquisite. You know, I just feel like it's the best sound in the ear. In my opinion.
Like playing in a band is like one of the most surreal experiences. Like it's like 100 different people coming together at the same spot, like without words and misunderstandings. So like in that space, like it's some magical stuff.
I'm so glad you said that. When my dad won tickets to like this orchestra, like Winnipeg Orchestra, and it's the first time I like listened to a live like orchestra band, and the first song finished and I literally cried because it was just like the feeling of like everything coming together was so powerful. And it made you think about your life without words. And it just like, it describes the feeling. It's just amazing. But
music,
man.
Music. Yeah.
Music is its own language. That's just what I'm
exactly. And yet it has a different meaning for like everybody can interpret it differently, and then they can sort of express themselves through it. It's really great.
And like at the same time, it's the same thing, you know, like it's different for each person, yet it's the
same thing.
That's like beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. So we are here for the MMI. So we're gonna be interviewing you today. All right. This is like well, you guys already went through the MMI, but so the MMI is supposed to assess the competencies of medical school applicants, right? So we've been talking about your hobbies, right? How you play the violin and guitar and music. Would you say that your hobbies or other things that you're into that's outside of academics helped you in a way for the MMI?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a two-part. So that like one part of it, it's just like as in like I'm sure you'll get for sure questions about like how you spend your time. I think especially for one that's like how do you de-stress, those type of things. I think for me especially like music is a pure avenue for like to de-stress, and hobbies in general. Like it can help you answer some questions, but I think also at the same time, your hobbies give you certain skills that you can use to apply when interviewing. For example, like I don't know, the first thing that comes to mind is just like doing musical performances is one way it helps you de-stress, but also helps you face certain stresses like performing in front of other people, that type of thing, which obviously is useful when you're interviewing for something important in order to keep calm, that type of thing. So I think it's a dual thing that like helps you answer some questions, gives you the content to answer questions, but also gives you some skills that helps you like succeed in actually answering those questions well.
Yeah, what Arjun said. I'll just give an example of like, I guess like philosophy for me has been like really good for the MMI, because like a lot of the MMI is like perspective taking. And like, if you learn how to think outside of your perspective, like that's a huge plus, because you could see it from different angles. And like philosophy and like just extra reading in general really helps, because it forces you to get out of your own head and like into other people's heads. And like you'll be like, oh, I'm just unsure about a lot of things. And that unsureness gives rise to a lot of perspective. So like if you're like very sure about what you believe in, then you're just gonna constantly think through that perspective. And like hobbies that involve perspective taking, so like philosophy, reading, even like sports, I don't know, like if you have the heart for it, like it really helps.
I absolutely agree. And it's interesting how you mentioned reading books. I just started picking up books actually. And for our listeners, the OG listeners, you know, I always be quoting stuff from the books I read. There's this book by Joe Navarro. He's like an ex FBI agent, I think. Yeah, ex FBI agent. It's about reading body language. So can you give me like an example from a book that you have read, or maybe a movie you've watched, Arjun? I'm not sure if you're into books, but something that you've learned from somewhere that helped you out with the MMI as well.
Yeah, for me, I think before going to MMI, I read a book called Being Mortal, but sorry, I can't pronounce the name. So
I'm reading it right now.
Yeah, that book.
Yeah.
I read that book, and I think, I don't know, like for me, I wasn't reading it specifically for the MMI, I was just reading it in general. And I think it gave me, it's just like kind of, for me, it was just giving me like, I guess just give me some perspective on life type of thing. I'm not sure. That's the first thing that comes to mind when you're talking about a book that prepares your MMI, because it's a similar area. But I think it just helps. I wouldn't say I specifically applied any concepts or anything from there in the MMI, but I think for me it just helped humble me, give me some perspective, because he was talking about the part that I remember like most vividly is he was talking about the situation of geriatrics in North America, and how more and more medical students don't want to go into geriatrics because for XYZ various reasons, but how that's such an important field, and how like those elder people being neglected, etc. I think that's the thing that stuck out to me, and I think that just gave me some perspective and like how I want to run my practice, or how the type of things that I want to do when I go into medicine. And I guess it can be tracked, and maybe it did. I guess give me some perspective and help me in answering some of the questions of the MMI, or just give me some train of thought that might have helped me. That's the first thing that comes to mind for me. But to be honest, before that, I really didn't have much time to read books before that. So that was literally the summer before I applied to med. I had a little bit of time, but before that, I used to read a lot growing up. Like I read like 6-7 books a month, something like that, like quite a bit in high school. But then I just kind of stopped pre-university.
That's impressive, man. Like
6 to 7 books.
Oh,
Right now, I'm like 1 book per month, but university, so.
I used to have, I would challenge myself to read like, I think I read like 20 books in a year one time or something.
That's a good amount.
Yeah,
I think.
or
I don't know yet, but what about you,
people
Charith?
who
Yeah,
don't
how
like
about
to read, like people who don't like to read, audiobooks, amazing.
yeah.
I've like
I tried Audible, because like when I work out or something, then I'll just listen to the audiobook. But I found that it doesn't work for me because the music works better than the audiobook. And then when you're lifting something, but then actually that's what got me into reading, because I was on my phone quite a lot, and then I read this. I thought I was addicted, which I think I was, to be honest. I was addicted to my phone. So I read this book about your phone addiction, and then I was like, okay, I gotta put the phone down. And then that's when I started picking up books. Books change your life, guys. But what about yourself, Charith? Did you have any books in mind that you think helped you in MMI or maybe your mindset?
I don't know. Like I could plug a few podcasts.
Oh, that's a good one too.
I hate. It's like there's a podcast called Philosophize This. Check it out. It's awesome.
I know about that. I saw that. Yeah.
It's very good. It's it'll just help you sort of work out through different sides of the coin, per se. But I guess like the book I would recommend has like a swear in it, so it's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving Up.
I read that one.
It's very good.
Yeah, it's really good.
I think it's good for the MMI because it'll give you like a broader perspective on life and like a journey into like building compassion for like everyone, regardless of who they are. And also it'll help you like de-stress. So that's the big one in the MMI. Like you're going to be stressing out and just going to be wasting time being like, paralyzed by fear. And like, I'm not saying that's particularly a bad thing, but there's ways to address that in a more wise way. Let's just say that. Because like we've all gone through it and like it's all a learning experience. No one like goes in and been like, I know what I'm doing. Like no one's like that. Absolutely. So like it just helps to like listen to other people. That's the biggest tip. I guess like if you can take anything, like try to listen to as many people as you can. Like talk to them.
That's actually what I tell myself to do. Like that's kind of my motto. Like I talk about I know in the previous episodes or our previous podcasts, we talked a lot about finding a mentor, and I'd always say that's very useful. And actually I feel like I like that way of learning better. Like I like listening to people's stories and stuff, because absolutely, even if I haven't been in their shoes, right? Having that conversation with them not only connects me with that person, but also they're already teaching me without even putting myself in that situation, right?
Yeah, you definitely gain a new perspective. Also, reading gives you a new perspective. Whatever genre it is. I read a lot of like fantasy books, like YA, young adult books, like Cassandra Clare, like City of Bones, like all those books, and like Harry Potter. And like within those stories, it weaves different themes and messages. And so that does really develop who you are and your state of mind. So yeah.
And I can see how that will definitely help in the
Yeah.
But we've talked a lot about a lot of things so far. Excuse me. And we haven't even really focused on academics that much, right?
Right.
But actually, I think. Do you think that's you'd say? How helpful do you think it is to have those different sides of yourself? So I think I mentioned in our previous podcast about the saying "Jack of all trades" is, what did I say? Um, a jack of all trades is a master of none, but always better than a master of one. Do you guys also believe in that saying, or what do you think about that? And if you can somehow relate it to the MMI as well.
I mean, the MMI, like the purpose of the MMI, I guess like MMI likes to find people who are like well-rounded, people, you know, who have tried lots of things, are diverse, but at the same time, like I think that they also like to see that they also like to see commitment, they also like to see dedication, you know, like for example, like if you could have a lot of different things, but if you've done them all like a few months before the MMI, they're going to be like, okay, this person has done all these things just to show us at the MMI, you know, that type of thing. Like they have to say, but if you've done something for like 10, 15 years, you've had the dedication, they're like, wow, this person has been dedicated to this, is something they're really passionate about, that type of thing, right? So I think it's a little bit of both. Like they like to see well-rounded people, but at the same time, you're not at fault for having one thing that you really enjoy, one thing that you're passionate about, especially if you're able to describe that passion to them and explain why you're so passionate about it, how it helps you. I think that's just as beneficial. I think it's not an either or thing. I think it can be both.
I don't know about, I gave it some thought about this one. And like, I think both could work. Like, even if you're like, so this is my opinion, like if you're like only focused on one thing, but I think it all comes down to your mindset, like how you approached it. Like if you like to do a lot of things, you know, travel, volunteer, you know, just really put yourself out there. Or if you just, let's say if you like to just collect stamps. So you each have your own journey and the reasons for you're going to do it. But again, like I want to come back to this. It's your way to apply whatever you learned to like broader perspectives, like not just your own. Like you can't just talk about, like if you spend like 10 years, 15 years doing like professional sports, if you just talk about the perspective of just you in sports, I feel like it'll be like, then it'll show that you can't like be compassionate or like you can't really empathize. But if you could show that the lessons you learned in sports, let's say like teamwork, communication, if you could apply that to like the questions you're given and like pick specific scenarios from it that are like, that you could explain deeply about like the human condition, you know, like you understand what it means to care for someone, you understand what it means to, you know, like feel pain or like really empathize with someone, then like I feel like that'll be a strong suit, even though you haven't done a lot of things, but you just like, it's your mindset for me, more or less, than like what you've done. But what Arjun said was like right too, like the more well-rounded you're, like the more likely you're going to do that. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's great to hear that they're looking for well-rounded applicants and not someone who just, you know, stays in one lane and doesn't want to learn and expand their knowledge. And I think that that's what makes a great doctor as well, wanting to learn and be determined and committed to something. So for the MMI, when you were preparing for the MMI, what sort of resources did you use to prepare, and what advice did you hear from others when you were sort of preparing for the MMI?
So for me, I think the advice that I received is the advice I'll pass on now. I think the biggest thing is just practicing with other people. I mean, like that's the biggest thing. I think I don't think there's much else. I don't think there's anything else that's as important. I think there's like, for example, like I think it's important. So the first thing is just do your research, that type of thing, whatever that may be, like read a book to get some perspective, do some research on contemporary topics, right? Just read the news, that type of thing, like look, and then just maybe like compile like a document or like compile resources in some way so that you have some kind of thing that you can refer to as you're discussing with other people, questions, that type of thing. And I think after that, the main thing is just discussing with other people about different topics, practicing. There's tons and tons of questions that are online. So one thing between that is just becoming familiar with the MMI, the organization of it, because it's very different than a traditional interview. So just becoming familiar with that, And then after that, there's just tons and tons of questions online, just taking any of those and just meeting up with one other person or a group of people and just practicing, just spitting off questions at each other one at a time and giving each other feedback. I think that was the best advice I got. And that's the thing that was most useful for me. And also one thing, like, it can be literally anyone. Like for me, for example, like at McMaster, all of my friends, the University of Manitoba interview was a lot sooner than the McMaster one. So none of my friends were really practicing yet. So I just found some random person on Reddit to interview it. And I just met with them on Zoom and found his name was Arjun too, surprisingly.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, so we were just practicing together and I found him on Reddit. So it can literally be anyone.
I wish I got your advice like the first few times I interviewed, because I like tried to do it all by myself, but like 100% practice with other people. Like you're just gonna learn a lot more, a lot faster. It's not just your experience. You're gonna just learn from practicing with each other, and that's gonna get you so far ahead, like 100%.
So thank you for your responses. For our listeners who are not really sure of like what the MMI is and like, could you sort of tell us how it's structured?
Yeah, I think, Charith, how many stations did we have? Was it 12?
Yes, I want to say like 11 with the rest.
11. I'm going to quickly double check. I think for us it was 12. I think it was about 12 stations, and you rotate. You start at one station, and then you rotate through all of them, and you come back to the one that you were at, and then each station has a different question. But it's not just like verbally talking about stuff. Sometimes you can get a puzzle to do, and then you have to describe what you're doing, why you're doing. Other things that I've seen that we didn't have, but I've seen could be like a debate with another applicant. That's another thing, that two applicants enter the same room and then you debate a topic. Another one's kind of like a performance type thing. There's an actor in the room. You have to like perform something. So it's a wide variety of different things. Out of the performance one, I'm not sure that Manitoba does, but I know for a fact McMaster does that one. So because each MMI runs slightly differently in terms of the types of questions they ask, they all have the inherent like same system where you have station that you rotate through. For us, actually, we had a written question, where a station was just you get a piece of paper, there's a prompt, you have the time to write. And yeah, so then, and the questions, of course, there's a wide variety of questions that challenge you on like a variety of contemporary topics, like literally anything you can think of to ask. From as simple as like, just like, well, I think one question is like, how do you de-stress? Like that was like, let's just like simple questions to get to know you. And then the other end of the spectrum is like what Charith was talking about, just things to challenge your perspectives on any type of contemporary topic.
Do we do the same MMI? Like, debate one might have been McMaster, because I don't think that one.
Oh, we didn't have, I'm just saying those are the type of questions that they can ask. We had a puzzle, remember? And then we also had a written question. But they can ask a debate. I'm sure Manitoba does do debates. I think I read it on one of the on the website, but the McMaster for a fact does debates for sure, and they also do the play performance type thing.
Oh, that's interesting. Arjun covered it. Like, just brush up on like yourself. I think most of the questions, they want you to relate to yourself. So like, no matter what type of station it is, just like, they are asking you to solve like moral and ethical situations, but it's not like they don't know the answer and they're just trying to find the answer through med students. But like, just, they're all an opportunity to showcase yourself. So like, just tell stories, people love stories. So brush up.
Interesting. And how much time do you guys get to sort of, is it like 2 minutes before you can enter the room and answer the question or the challenge you have to do?
Yeah.
2 minutes. Okay. That must be kind of like stressful having to think of something beforehand, a short amount of time.
It's just like, it's like like I said, all that research is kind of important because it's kind of like you have this pool of knowledge that's within you, and you're just drawing into that pool as you prep. Right? So that's why it's important to like, at least like a lot of the times, if you practice extensively enough, it's reoccurring themes that come up just to ask a little bit differently, right? So it's just drawing into your experiences, drawing into those conversations you had with your peers, and then using that and telling the examiner.
Okay, cool. So we're in the middle of a pandemic right now. Did the pandemic affect how the MMI was conducted for you guys? Because I know my friend, she just did her MMI like was it this month or last month? And she had to do it like over like online. So did you guys have to do it online or was it in person?
Ours was in person. I don't know about Mac. Might have been.
Mac was canceled last year. They didn't do it. Yeah, but because there's like I said, like U of M was a lot earlier than everyone else. U of M for us was like in February, but most of the other ones were in like end of March, early April type thing. So U of M was able to get off everything normally. Like we had our mock MMI in person, we had our actual MMI in person. Everything was normal. But then when like Mac had theirs, things happened. Like COVID was like just starting, right, full swing. Lockdowns were starting, so they canceled it for last year.
I see. Yeah.
I don't know. We held the mock interviews for this year, and I don't know if they'll have the same thing next year. But the format is different. Like, so watch out for that. I guess like it's not the same as like years past. But if it's in person, I'm sure it'll be the same format.
Yeah.
I see. All right.
I just find that the play like really interesting. Like that's different. I thought it was more formal. I guess our audience might be, have the same mindset as me because, I just expected it to be like, really very formal, and then you're wearing, a suit and stuff, or you gotta look good, and then I don't know how. What do you say? How strict or formal would you say it is, or can you like how loose can you get? I'm not sure what I'm trying to ask. I guess how formal do you think is it? Like really straightforward, or
like it is still pretty formal. Like the expectation is that you still like of course act like incredibly professionally, wear like your full like suit or whatever, like you wear your full professional clothing. All of that is still expected, and I think like even like it's more of like I say play, but it's kind of like it's like there's actors in the room, and it's like a situational type thing. Like I don't remember exactly what it is. It's definitely like an actor doing something, and you have to respond to that in some way. And I think like all your response, like, everything you do is still like it's held to the highest standard, held to the highest like professional level. So it's still a very formal procedure. It's just there are things that they do to make it slightly different, to kind of push your boundaries. Because like you said, like you don't go in expecting that you're going to be debating another applicant, right? Like it's
right.
Like it's just to push you a little bit. And even for like debate, it's not like a full on like you're not going hard on each other. Like it's like a friendly you aren't like destroying each other. Like it's a friendly like it's more like conversation, but in like a debate style. I'm not sure it's full like we are here today to talk. It's like a full like like standard professional like parliamentary debate. You're just like talking about another a topic with another applicant just to see different perspectives.
For like the question about like how formal, like it is like in terms of dressing, it's formal. I think like the most professional thing you could do is like organized speech. Like that's like makes you come across as like really professional. Like if you're not, talking like you can't talk like you're just with your friends. Like, cause like, I don't think they're looking for that. It's more like, are you organized in your speech? And like how well you could like show, like, you still have to show warmth, like the warmth you have in you. It's not like a business setting because it's medicine. It's not a, like Asper project presentation. It's more of like a, like they're trying to see how you're with patients and colleagues. So like, you have to be organized, but you have to like show your compassion and your empathy as well.
And I've looked up actually, because the MMI is pretty new, right? It's not, they didn't have that back in the day. I'm not sure how new it is, like when they started incorporating it, but I just know that like they didn't have that before, right? And according to McMaster University, so I'm just quoting them here from their website, the MMI allows applicants multiple opportunities to showcase their skills throughout the interview, unlike the traditional one-on-one interview. Some people Uh, some people want to, have different reasons to go into medicine. Some people might do it for money or something like that, or for status, or uh, not necessarily for just not the best intentions, right? Um, would you say that the MMI is actually a good way to screen these applicants and to really pinpoint and determine which ones are going to be, potentially better doctors than others? Like, how effective do you think the MMI really is?
I mean, I think it does a good job in, I think, in pinpointing which applicants, I think it does a good job pinpointing the inherent values of each of the applicants in terms of, I don't actually, I think it's a hard question. I think I want to say it does a job. It does a good job in saying it's all based on what the applicants tell you, right? So if there's at least it tells you which applicants in a way know what they're talking about in a sense, like, but at the same, because it's like, for example, there's a question on the if there's a question on the inherent systemic racism that exists in the healthcare system, right? There has to be some level of knowledge on the applicant, some level of empathy, and like some of the question will straight up ask you about your empathetic approach or your compassionate approach. Like in those type of situations, I think it does a decent job in because it's up to the applicant at that point to prove to the examiner that they are empathetic, they are compassionate, that they actually do know about that there is systemic racism prevalent in the healthcare system. Like it's up to them to show that they aren't ignorant, that they actually have those qualities. But at the same time, I think that there can be situations that, but no system is perfect, right? There can be times where like someone can be both, right? They can be motivated by status, they can be motivated by money, but at the same time, they can be like well-read, they can be learned, right? That type of thing. Like I think it's hard to answer that question because of that. But I think that the question that they present, at the very least, do a good job in saying which applicants in a way know what they're talking about, and that they can at least express some compassion, some empathy to an extent.
Like I agree with Arjun in terms of like the MMI, like the pros of it. And like, I think like the whole medical school process is just how much you want it. Like, honestly, it's hard work. Like you could be a really compassionate person, but if you don't put in the work in, like you might have the purest of intentions, but if you don't put in the work, like it's hard to get there. Like it's kind of, because you have to, like, I think that's what the whole process really measures, like your actual desire to get into medicine. I don't know if that makes sense, right? Like it's a tough process, like MCAT.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I think like that's why it's hard, because like the people who aren't promoted for the wrong reason, they could be putting in all the work necessary to get accepted. Because it's like MMI is, I mean, part of it is asking about your experiences, which that you can't really, it's whatever you do, right? But but a lot of the question they ask is like essentially seeing how much you know about X, Y, and Z issues, and like what your response is to that. And a lot of people, like if you do research, if you do your work, you'll start to realize the trends, and you'll start to realize what they're looking for, right? So that's why it's hard. But at the same time, it's really important to it's really easy, not easy, but it's easier to see when someone's talking with genuine empathy and compassion, just the way they talk, as opposed to just faking it. So that's another thing I like about having like the in-person thing that MMI offers, the one-on-one interviews, situational. It really allows you to see the genuine response from someone. But
also less bias, right? Like because you'll get multiple shots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Arjun.
Yeah. No, I forgot what I was going to say anyway. That's a hard question to answer. And I think there's pros and cons. I know, yeah. I think, but it's the system that we have now. So.
There's no perfect, because that's how it is. Like humans are weird.
Yeah.
And I think also that I'm going to show my philosophy stuff as well. I think there's bias with everyone, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because your life is, you're in a different environment, and your environment that you're in is going to affect however your habits, right? And how you think. And then, and if someone's not from that same environment as you, you're already biased to yourself, because you know your environment, right? So anyways.
With that being said, you mentioned how difficult it is to get into med school, the journey, like the amount of work you have to put in. So knowing that, why did you choose to go into medicine?
Not the MMI. No, Arjun, you go. I gotta think about this.
Okay, yeah. So for me, it's I don't know. Like originally, I wanted to go into medicine for a long time. I think like originally, like growing up in high school, elementary school, it was mainly kind of like superficial in the sense that I really liked like sciences. Like I really like biology. I really like sciences in general, and I liked it more than math and physics and that type of. I guess I like the biology, chemistry aspect of science as opposed to like physics and math, that type of thing. And I also I did a little bit of volunteering in high school. And I just like helping people in general. So it's kind of like superficial in that sense. But when I got into first year secondary university, I one of my courses focused a lot about like human-centered design and like needs finding and interview skills and patient-centered design. I really like that part of it. I really enjoyed that. I found that like it kind of gave me like a purpose or meaning to med school in the sense that I want to go to med school to try to incorporate the things I learned in terms of like finding the specific needs of patients, and in order to like optimize the care they're receiving to the next level. And I think that I found like I really enjoyed that process, and that's something that I didn't really know existed before. Like I didn't think like something like patient-centered design, like you could apply engineering design concepts to medicine, that type. I didn't think that was possible before entering that course, but that was the whole premise of the course, is to apply like engineering design concepts to try to optimize care for patients. And I really enjoyed that. And I found that could be cool to apply those concepts if I became a doctor. So I think that was the kind of like an added motivation to me to like see if I could use the things I've learned in my undergrad to try and benefit or try to optimize the care for other people. And I thought that was really cool. And I think it could give you like an added motivation or added premise to being a doctor.
No, like we actually share a lot in like the first 12, 13 years. Like I hated math. At one point, I'm pretty sure I memorized math, which is like a stupid idea, but you know, I came to Canada and I was like very confused about the words they use for math. So I just memorized things for my exam. But anyways, I love biology, chem, and physics. And like that probably like set me on like the STEM fields instead of like any other fields. But I know like my passion for medicine actually came from like learning more about like English. Like I hated like literature like in high school because like my English wasn't that good. But once I started getting to like read into like the humanities, like, you know, like sociology, anthropology, like those really spark something. And like the biggest motivator in terms of medicine for me is like suffering. Like if you have an illness, like when you're young, you don't really think about it. But like when something happens to you that's unexpected, like there's like a line drawn between you and like before what you might have considered patience. Like, you know, like there's a line drawn between, it's not, oh, there's a sick person, but you see yourself in that sick person more than you did before. So it's like, and at the same time, like learning what you learned from the things you've gone through and hoping that you could really incorporate that into your sort of what you do in your life. So reducing unnecessary suffering and like for people who are in pain, making sense of that pain. That's like one of the biggest motivators, because like when you're in pain for no reason, or, you know, like that counseling aspect of medicine, like I really like, I'm inspired by that. That's how I would say.
That's those are really great answers, and it's great to hear sort of your intentions in wanting to go into medicine, and it sort of reflects on like what kind of doctor you guys want to be in the future. So thank you guys for sharing.
I just like to go back to your experience with the MMI. So prior to the MMI, right? You've done the MCAT, and you know you've applied to the medical schools. How did it feel when you were just waiting for that call, or I don't know how, if they email you or something, or you get a letter. And how did it feel after, you heard that you got an interview?
I think of course, it's pretty exciting. I mean, like the wait is frustrating. I mean, it's understandable that of course they need time to like process everything like that, but it's from the MMI. I think it's like 3 months or something. Yeah, about 3 months. And of course it gets more and more stressful as you get closer to the day. And I think that, I think it's just of course it was incredibly exciting. I don't know, for me, like I was, so I was playing video. I remember I was just playing video games with my friends, and then I got the email, and then I was like damn, like I was like, I was just so excited, honestly. Like it was a huge relief. I know, of course, it's a stressful process, right, getting to that point, and it's like everything is like at this point, and like we have to do this all again next year, like that type of thing. So it's really, really huge relief, but it's also incredibly exciting because it's what we've been working for like this whole time, right? So yeah, it was great. And I'm kind of underplaying it, but like
you just started winning all of the games you were playing, or like,
yeah.
You got hype.
Yeah.
Wait, so we're talking about like the email to the interview, right?
Yeah, to the interview. When you get offered the interview. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's exciting.
Sorry, I thought it was the offer like of admission.
Yeah, that's what I was like.
Oh, you can take us through that too.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about.
My man.
Well, what about the MMI?
That's the got accepted.
Sorry, for the interview for me, I was in class. I remember, like it was like 8 a.m. I was in class, and it was the same thing. Like I had to like stop from like screaming out in class because like it was a small class. There was like 15 people, so I had to somehow go. It was a 3-hour class, and I had to somehow go back to like work after, because it was right at the beginning too. So
yeah.
Honestly, the interview to the email feels like catching a new breath, because like it's like it's like a second wind to your whole process, because you write in the MCAT and you're in class, then you need that second wind to be like push you to the end.
Yeah.
The interview doesn't guarantee anything, so it's more of like okay, we're on the right track.
Like, yeah, this is it, right?
Yeah.
I'm excited.
After you got offered the like your final offer, did you go back to playing video games?
I did, yeah. Like 2 minutes after, yeah. I told my parents that
you can't just quit the game, man.
You're just yelling from the basement to your parents. I got okay.
Literally.
I can't pause the game, Mom, but I got in.
Exactly.
Wait, did you celebrate with your family like afterwards?
I mean, a little bit, but it was right in the middle of our first lockdown. So like nothing, like not a single thing was open, like literally.
Right.
So yeah.
How would you have celebrated?
Yeah.
Well, probably just go get some dinner, get something to eat, something like that. I'm not like a huge like. I didn't really like ask for anything. I was just kind of like, okay, I got in type thing. It was of course it was incredibly exciting, but at the same time it was kind of like, like, okay, like now what do I need? Like, it's just kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. Like it's incredibly exciting, but at the same time, I'm not like a huge like celebration type guy. Like, I would have just like a subtle like dinner, like like that type of thing.
Kind of like Kobe Bryant. You know that interview he had in the playoffs? They asked him. yeah, and and he was asked, oh, you guys are up 3-0 or something like that, I think, or 3-2 or something, and then why aren't you smiling? And he's like, is the job done? job's not finished.
Job's not finished.
Is that you?
I mean, I guess maybe like I'm not to the extent of, I wouldn't compare myself to Kobe Bryant. That's a big thing, but like I guess to some extent, yeah.
What about you, Charith?
I was pretty nervous. Like after I got it, like for me it was like I was shaking. Then I like saw that I got it and I stopped shaking, and I was like, yes. That was the extent, because I started gardening during COVID and it was like pretty dope. That was my celebration. I was spending a lot of time in the yard. Pretty dope.
I just got a plant just now. I just started getting into plants. I have a spider plant.
Dude, check it.
You got plants right there. There you go.
I have a tree.
You have a tree.
Yeah, but it's pretty. It's gotten pretty big. I'm pretty proud.
I want to
Yeah,
get a
I'm just-
plant, but I have like 2 cats and a dog, and they might eat it. So
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
Or put it like up here. I put mine like up there. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Cats
The
is
plant right there.
I'm sorry.
Actually,
Yeah.
yeah,
The
you're
cats
right.
are gonna eat it for sure. I know they will. Yeah, I just know it.
Do cats eat cactus? Like,
I'm not too sure. I mean, I think it would hurt them if they do eat.
I mean, I wouldn't eat cactus.
Yeah.
So
wait, cat. So it's,
that is true.
Oh, I just got that.
No, I'm not. But so moving
All
on
right.
to our next part of the interview. It's
So,
just a little thing, me and Audrey have come up with like
Last minute.
So like 1 a.m. last night, you're like, oh, let's do this.
yeah, I was like, okay, we got to like do the rapid fire question thing because we didn't like figure out the questions. But
For our first episode, it was like all of our rapid fire questions so far is just last minute.
So,
how are we gonna do this?
All right. So, rapid fire segment. Basically, we'll ask you a question. Both of you have a chance to answer and give your answers. You can sort of say why you gave that answer very briefly. But yeah, it's very general, and it's not anything like medical related where you have to sort of we're not testing you on anything. But all right. So our first question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being really easy and 10 being extremely difficult, how was the MMI for you?
For me, probably like a 7.
I'll give it
First
10.
time like this.
10.
Pretty difficult.
Yeah.
All right, second question. Do you like your eggs sunny side up or scrambled?
I don't eat eggs.
You don't eat eggs. You can't not eat eggs.
No, it's probably because I'm vegetarian, but then like because my religion, it's a little more specific.
I
So
see.
I don't eat eggs. I don't. Yeah.
Okay.
But if you were,
I don't.
What would you be willing to try?
Probably scrambled if I did.
Yeah.
Okay, fair.
I eat eggs, but I don't know how I make them, so I forget. I just don't eat that much eggs. Like, it's not like a staple,
I see.
Okay.
Ramir, what about you?
Oh,
Any side
me.
up?
This is also last minute. Why you always putting me on the spot? Okay,
Sorry.
You know what? I like sunny side up, and I like it when it's barely. It's like between soft boil and hard boil, where you can like it has kind of like a shell, but then you can like stab a fork through it, and then that's when the juices come out, right? The yolk comes out.
The yolk, yeah.
That's just exquisite.
Depends.
What about you, Audrey?
Sunny side up egg with garlic fried rice. Like we have this. It's called sinangag. It's like a Filipino garlic fried rice.
It's just fried rice. Yeah.
It's just basically fried rice, but like garlic is very prominent. Like that's the like main ingredient. And then scrambled eggs with like toast. Depends.
And avocado.
Oh. And avocado. Oh, avocado toast. So good. Yes. Okay, anyways, next question. Besides the violin, what other instrument would you like to learn how to play?
Probably guitar for me. Yeah.
I could teach you.
Yes, please do.
I don't know. Maybe saxophone.
Wow.
Or the drum.
I would also like to learn a saxophone.
This looks cool.
Yeah.
It's squeaky though. It's too squeaky. It's like, as French horns, we don't like. We have like a superiority complex over the saxophone.
Come on, man.
We don't do that.
Saxophone though, you can have those solos go crazy,
Yeah.
It's egotistic. All saxophone players care about.
Really? Drums is very interesting. My grandpa plays the drums. Like he's a professional jazz drummer.
Wow.
So, yeah. So
really?
he's been playing. I don't know when he stopped. Like probably until when he's like late 70s. He still was playing the drums.
Wow.
Yeah. And I wish I picked it up from him, but I was playing the piano at the time. So
You know, Audrey,
Piano, I'd like to learn piano. I'm actually learning the piano now. I have like...
Yeah, it's been a while since I played the piano though, because of like undergrad and so busy.
But I actually also play the drums. So I have like a drum set right there. I can teach you. You can teach me the piano. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, my grandpa can show you how to play too.
No, like I know how to play the drums already.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
cool.
No, honestly,
all right, next one. Oh, yeah.
Undergrad, man, just like do like a lot of things. That's
Yeah. I'm graduating this year, so I have more free time after I graduate. Maybe I can play an instrument, you know. But I sold my piano though, so I need to get a new one.
Okay, so what instrument are you gonna play, Hami?
I don't know.
get a drum set.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, my grandpa is living with me, so maybe
The drums. First of all, percussion. Percussion, I believe, was the very first instrument ever, right? Like if you look back in time, like Vikings, for example, or any other tribe, you know, they always played some sort of percussion. So I think it carries music. But anyways, next question. If you were in the interview and you were the interviewer, what trait would you look for in your applicant that you're interviewing?
A good question.
I don't even know if this is rapid fire. Like this takes more time.
It's one trait.
One trait.
Yeah.
For me, I would say someone who's genuine, like authenticity. Like I think someone who just, I'll just stop it at like genuine authenticity.
Yes. Authentically selfless would be the ideal trait.
It's a good trait.
You know, that's kind of a pipe dream. Like no one's that. Not even me. It's like no
All
one
right.
really.
Thank you for your answers. Next question. What do you wish to specialize in after you graduate from med school?
No idea. I have no idea yet. Not sure at all.
I think like same, like something with, I know all medicine has people, but a lot of like counseling options.
I see. Cool.
Okay. What about this? I think it's the last one. What is your dream car?
Dream car.
Do you want me to tell mine? I actually do have one.
Can you go first?
2017 Honda Accord 2-door.
Honda Accord 2-door.
Honda.
Okay.
I was gonna go with like a GTR, a Nissan GTR or something, but
that's my dream car.
I was hoping someone would say GTR. Fast and Furious.
Yeah,
you guys seen that, right? You know,
yeah.
When I see you again. Anyways.
Paul Walker, man.
Yeah. Mine would be a Porsche, but like the old Porsche, like the one the kind of like a Beetle. Wait, I think that was like the Porsche.
I know what you're talking about, like the one from Cars, the movie, like that one.
Yeah, that one. And then and then because I play this video game called Need for Speed, and then I got that car in that game, and then there was this mod where you put the whole engine in the back instead of the front, and then you have no trunk, so you just expose the whole engine. It just looked cool. But I don't think it's healthy for your car, to be honest. But
I think my cousin has I think it's the MR2 that has the engine in the back. Is it that one?
I'm not sure. I forgot.
Okay. I think, my cousin has that too. It's really interesting. The engines in the back.
Yeah. But also like Lamborghini, like a lot of luxury cars have that. But yeah, that is our rapid fire questions. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one.
Yeah. Now we're on our very last question. We like to ask this at the end of each episode for our guests. So do you have any advice for our listeners on how to stay motivated in pursuing their dreams?
I think the biggest thing is, and I think that one thing that I realized after coming to med school is that there was a lot of time before. I think like in undergrad, so I don't know for other people, for me especially, there was like this huge rush because everyone's applying. You have to get all the ECs done. You have to get this, and this done. It's a mad rush just to like, for the end goal being get to med as soon as possible and get in, right? But then once I get in, like there's people, like a huge, like there's a wide distribution. Like some people finish finish their full undergrad degree, went to work for years, and they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. And they come, like there's so much time. And I think the biggest thing is just keep going, like keep going. Like things might not work out the first time or even the second time, but it's not a big deal. Like there's so much time, and just keep at it. If it's I think that's something that you really, really want to do, then just even if you fall, just get back up type thing, just keep plugging in. I'm sure it'll work out eventually. I think the biggest thing is just like understanding, like there's no, even if you don't get in, like it's the first thing is understanding, like even if you don't get in, it's not a big deal. Like there's the first time, I mean, like you have tons and tons and tons of time to do this. Like there's no rush. And the second time, and I think that it's kind of, I don't even need to say it, but like if of course it's something that you want to do, then just keep plugging at it, and I guarantee it'll work out eventually.
Yeah, like as a person who tried multiple times, like it's more of the journey, because like even like what you think is the destination is not a destination. I don't know if Arjun could attest. It's just that it just keeps going, like, but yeah, like that, and like fall in love with like really pushing your comfort zones. Like if you find yourself becoming too comfortable with sort of what you're doing, or like it's good to have a little bit of discomfort in your life. And like that could be a huge driver, like if you're not so averse to like discomfort, because that's like one of the major things. Like this is life advice. Like learn to love discomfort. Like really though, like that'll, no matter where you go, like that'll push you. Like whether it's to study that extra 3 hours, or like, like really like restrict yourself and like not really hating it. Like that's huge. That's like a really, like it's a good superpower.
That's really good advice. I think at the start of this podcast, there was some sign of discomfort because this is something I've never done before. And Ramir as well.
I've been wanting to do it, but absolutely, It's the first time. And first episode in the pharmacy podcast actually was pretty evident. We were like kind of nervous. So
yeah. And then like the more that we sort of did every episode, I think we improved a lot over time. So
I can relate that to like when you're working out, right? I believe that you should never be comfortable with the weight that you're lifting, because you're not going to grow from that, right? You have to be uncomfortable, with the weight. It has to be heavy enough for you to get better. But, obviously you wouldn't want to put yourself in a situation where it's too heavy and you start to hurt yourself, but
True.
What I know is you should never be comfortable at all. There should always be, some sort of discomfort.
Like a challenge.
Yeah, a challenge. Mm-hmm. But that being said,
the feeling is the same, like the feeling of discomfort, like the emotional or whatever discomfort. It doesn't matter what situation it is. It's the same feeling that's coming up. That's like fearful, Mm-hmm. So like, I think really deep, like dive into that, and just like you could do anything, because it's just you limiting yourself.
Right. Yeah. I feel like the discomfort and the challenge and the obstacles that you face is what's going to make you grow as a person and help you improve and become a better version of yourself.
Wow.
This has been like one of like the deepest and like like
I might even say
open,
it is.
Like this I think this is like the longest episode we've talked, is it? I think it feels like it, yeah. I just want to thank Charith and Arjun, both of you, for taking the time out of your day to talk to us about the MMI and also beyond that, and giving your advice and your experiences. I think it'll be very valuable for our listeners. And we really appreciate you having us being a part of our series. And to our listeners, I just want to thank you all for listening. Also, just remember to follow us at LTS_U of M on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook if you haven't already. Just be updated on our upcoming events. Also, feel free to follow and subscribe to wherever you listen to your podcast. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, and more. Wherever you listen to your podcast, we're pretty much on there.
All right.
Thank you very much. You guys did a great job.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for answering our questions and thinking about them. And they're very thought-provoking. All right. Okay, take care, guys. Enjoy your
See you
weekend.
guys.
Bye.
Take care. Take care.
Bye.
On the next episode.
Well, you're not gunning for the 100% anymore because like grad school is pass or fail. So you're not like trying to like get 100% on everything like you were in undergrad for like getting into med school. A little bit less stress in that aspect.
The one thing that I didn't really expect was like just the sheer amount of extracurriculars and like different events that you can attend that are put on that like it's overwhelming. There's no way to participate in there's interest groups events, there's like different nights, talks, almost every night there's something going on over Zoom right now. But there's so many things to get involved with. And yeah, it's a lot. It's nice though that there's like a lot of options to meet people and learn more outside of like school hours.
What is your motto?
You can always sleep later. Well,